What the honk?
There it is again. There it is. I can't let this go. This is the single greatest text. This is the single greatest. Oh my god, a girl said it that time. The greatest sentence to ever be said in any video game. This is it. This is the pinnacle. If you want to be a voice actor, if you're watching my stream because you're trying to learn about video games, because you have you want to grow up to be a voice actor. You want to grow up to be the next Nolan North. Then just listen. This is it. This is how you become the greatest voice actor. You just listen to this. Just listen to this. Everybody listen. Just listen to this.
What the honk?
It gets me every time. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my god.
Here goes.
Wait a second. You're telling me that if you put it on active, the enemy still gets their turn while you're doing your attack? Like, oh no, they couldn't have screwed it up that bad. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe they would do that. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, that's unbelievably bad. So, like, in Final Fantasy VII, if you have the game set to wait, then when you're in the menu, or when your guys are attacked, like, even when they start to do their attack, it'll be under wait. But if you set it to active, then when you're in the menu, the ATB bars still go up. But when, Knights of the Round is going off, the bars aren't filling up. Like, when the attack is actually when the attack animation is happening, it still waits, because that would be retarded because that would mean that longer attacks would be worse. You know what I mean? Like every time you use Knights of the Round, everyone would get their attack because Knights of the Round is so long. So even if you have the game set to active, it still waits during the actual attack animation. But in this piece of crap game, because she was like, I'm going to use my Earth attack. Earth attack. During that entire animation, Shiva got her attack. Are you kidding me? Could they have screwed this up any more? Did they play Final Fantasy VII? Did these people play other Final Fantasy games, or did they just Google Final Fantasy, take some images, turn them into chibis, and throw it into a mobile game they had already designed? This is the worst thing I've ever played. How do you honestly screw it up that bad? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. How do you do that? That is like creating an RPG 101. And this is Square. This is the golden gods of RPGs. And they screw up something that simple. I have no words. How could you do that? How could you screw it up that bad? I mean, I don't make video games, and I know that that's the dumbest thing ever. I can't believe it. I'm in disbelief. I can't believe they would screw it up that bad. I could understand if this is some indie company that, threw their hat in the ring with their first video game, but not Square, who's been around for, how many years? 20, 30, 40 years. They've made not every, but many extremely influential RPG games. Every Final Fantasy added something new but kept the old, so that it was like this perfect blend of amazing RPG bliss. This game is supposed to be a showing of all the past Final Fantasies and how great they are. And instead, it's like taking a giant dump on every Final Fantasy game up to this point. You know? Like, I mean, how do they screw it up this bad? I don't get it. I mean, that's just, I mean, I can, you know, I can get past the chibi thing. I can get past the fact that it's like a mobile game. You know, they wanted to churn this game out quickly so they can make a quick buck on it. I got suckered in. Oh well, move on to the next game. But how do you, as a company, go backwards so hard? Like, how do you make a game that is the conglomeration of all of your past successes and then screw up such a simple formula as this? I mean, I don't, I mean, this is like mind blown. I can't believe it. How do you screw up ATB? You were the one to make ATB popular. You were the one. You came out with Final Fantasy VII. You're like, this is new active time battle system. And it was flawless. It was amazing. How do you screw that up? That's like Thomas Edison screwing up a light bulb. That's like name inventor here plus invention. You know? I don't get it. I don't. I mean, you know, I can get past the goofy dialogue. I can get past the goofy characters. I can get past the fact that it's literally Pokemon. But, I mean, how do you screw up the basics of RPG creation when you were the ones to innovate the basics of RPG creation? You know? How do you do that? That is truly deplorable. The fact that game, you know, I have to read this now. I have to know where this game gets off getting an 8.25 in Game Informer. I have to know. Like, I have to read this. If they, I mean, what? Let's just read the synopsis, okay? So they say, the concept, return to a traditional RPG format, which they've screwed up, while revisiting your favorite parts of Final Fantasy history, alright? Graphics, the toy-like visual style looks great, and it captures the essence of the familiar monsters. I completely agree. Sound, I was happy to hear the returning characters' voice actors reprise their roles. The new versions of old musical themes are also neat. I have not heard a single theme, but I guess it's because I haven't gone to like Final Fantasy VII World yet or something. Exploration and combat work fine, but sifting through multiple screens to compare monster abilities and see their effects on your stack is a hassle. That's the hassle? Not the fact that the game straight up holds your hand like this is Dora the Final Fantasy Explorer? The story is awful. Alright, at least they got that part right. But the fun of collecting monsters, along with a flood of fan service, makes the narrative worth enduring. See, that's kind of how I feel. But I haven't even gotten to the part where it's, you know, worth it yet, because I'm still in frickin' the beginning of the game. I mean, it's been 2 hours, and I still haven't even gotten to, like, a Final Fantasy character. Let me just read their last paragraph. Similar to my experience playing Final Fantasy XIII-2, I eventually just had to tune out the plot to enjoy the gameplay. That's a shame, but it doesn't erase the entertaining battle system, the satisfaction of building an unstoppable monster collection, or the thrill of seeing your favorite characters back in action. The barrage of references might be lost on casual followers who don't have the nostalgia to draw from, but that's okay. World of Final Fantasy is aimed directly at fans with fond memories of the series' first 15 years. See, that's my problem. It's directly aimed at Final Fantasy fans, and yet makes a joke of half the Final Fantasy references. makes a joke of the ATB system, makes a joke of the summons, makes a joke of the characters, makes a joke of having any kind of plot that makes any sense, makes a joke about having main characters that aren't the most dim-witted dipshits I've ever seen in my life, and it constantly makes fun of itself. It makes fun of the chibi thing. When they became chibis, they laughed at each other and said they looked stupid. It made fun of, like, the actual plot. It makes fun of itself the whole time. It's like a thing. It knows it's a joke. And honestly, how can you give the game an 8.25 when you think the story is absolute trash? Maybe I'm just too hard on games, but Final Fantasy, I expect to have a story that isn't just loads of garbage. You know? Like, when I play Final Fantasy, I'm ready to get into an in-depth story. That's like the whole point. You know? I wouldn't rate Call of Duty bad if it has kind of a bad story. I would dock off a point maybe. But Call of Duty isn't about the story. It's about, you know, shooting. So I'm going to base it off of shooting. Is the shooting good? If the shooting is good, then it gets at least a fairly good rating. Because that's what it... Okay. But this is targeted at Final Fantasy fans. So if it has a trash story, that should be 3 or 4 points off right there. Because who's going to play this? You know, like, I mean, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it. I just don't. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand. This is just... I came here to remember all my fun times of Final Fantasy, and all I've really done is get sad. Just get really sad.